I like to start with origin stories. It's weird because I don't know if your origin story is more technology or more like art and design. What happened as a kid or a young adult that led you to doing what you're doing now?
As a kid, I always used to draw a lot. I did
Mm.
want to become some sort of artistic area professional. However, I do come from a family of programmers. My dad is a developer, my uncle's a developer. He's been a huge
Wow.
Thunderbird fan for the last 20 years. When
Wow.
he found out I got the job, he was terrified for a second. He was like, "Oh my God, that's cool. And also, please don't change anything. It's perfect the way it is. Don't touch it." You know how sometimes parents are like, "Oh, you read a book before you play video games or do a chore before you do something else." With my daddy was you got to program for at least an hour or like you have to finish this task. And once you show me
Wow.
you can do this, you can go out with your friends or whatever. I studied high school in Peru and I came to Canada for university. I lived with my dad then, and he paid for my university. I'm very, very thankful that he did that. However, there was a bit of a catch because he said, like, well, I don't want to pay for art school. I want to ensure that you have a good, secure future.
Oh,
Therefore, we had to compromise, and we found SFU. Simon Fraser University offers a program that is
what?
called School of Interactive Arts and Technology. I got to do so much graphic design there. I got to do technology, program video games. I think video, I thought the third part, like there was like a three-pronged situation. You got media, you got graphic
Hmm.
design, and you got programming. Media was not for me. First moment I saw it, I was like, cool. No, thank you, though. So then I started to just keep on working on both graphic design and technology, and I enjoy both. And I am so thankful and lucky that I ended up on a position that I get to do both.
Your official job title is UI UX designer.
I do check out for user experience, how a user is going to interact with something. Like, for example, the first user experience on when I see a screen is not only like make it pretty, but it's also like, will the user understand what they need to do in this screen? Is it
How do
intuitive?
you
Yeah.
how do you determine that? I know you're not in the mindset of, well, I represent all users, right? Obviously.
Right,
But in
exactly.
some research or like certain established flows.
The best way to explain user interaction for me is I love the example of a door. How do you
Oh,
interact with a door if you don't know? So a lot of doors have push me, but or
right.
pull, but then
Mhm.
you kind of also get the extra interaction by the handle you get in the side. Sometimes it's like a handle you can grab, sometimes just a bar. So that way you let the user
Okay.
know intuitively, oh, this is to be pushed, this is to be pulled, without them having to read. I don't know if you've talked to Micah about video games yet, but he always comes and eggs on me because I skip tutorials. Tutorials are great to explain things to users, but you can not only count that the user will hear the tutorial, they want to experience it themselves. I grew up and
Mhm.
learned as breaking things, grabbing things, and that kind of learning for me is crucial. So if the user is going to come into this room and learn what I want them to learn, I have to make it easy for them to figure it out. And that doesn't have to be only with words. It could just be with like small buttons, small icons, something that like will let them know, oh, I recognize this from any other application. We guide the user, but we're also not hiding things from the user either.
I'm just personally curious, like when you came to Thunderbird, was there something in the application that just jumped out and you thought, oh, I have to change this?
Oh, everything. Um, for example, one of the first things I told Alex was during the first time user experience, because obviously I got in, I was setting my account. I was like, I see a little blue octopus. And I was like, why didn't you just put a bird there? Why an octopus out of everything? Like, it was cute, don't get me wrong, but I was like, why? He was like, I don't know. It was a cute octopus. um, so there are little things here and there that, like, experience wise, it can help you remember where you are, or it can just smooth it out or
Hmm.
make it fun. Although, in all honesty, a good experience is potentially one that you will forget. Because if you remember, it means that you
Um,
struggled.
and
So
if
we
you
just
if you
want it to be as easy as it can be, the point that you don't even care for it. It's so easy breezy that it's natural.
what's one of your favorite mobile apps that's just really intuitive and you never had to figure out like how do I do things in this?
The simpler ones tend to be the most intuitive ones. So for example, when you read comics or manga, some of those applications, you tap on the list that you want or the book you want, and then you swipe right and back and forth.
Mimicking like
It's
physical
mimicking
actions,
exactly.
right?
It's already intuitive as like how you were to read a book. And while it does allow you to know, like it does give you a tiny bit tutorial, it doesn't force you on a tutorial experience, and it's intuitive enough.
What's the most challenging thing that you've had to work on with Thunderbird? Or
Definitely,
you know what? Or the most rewarding? Like either
most
or.
rewarding was definitely the cards view revamp that we did, because not only did we revamp it, and then we had to figure out, we realized we hadn't taken into account high contrast or a couple other things. And I was like, no, we have to do that. We need accessibility. Except that when Mike and I started working on the design for it, we're like, what if we make it 10 times better? And thankfully, Alex was crazy enough to let us, you know what, that works. I think I like that. So we had a second version of it. So users, I don't think will notice that, because we launched, I guess, 1.15 with like a version, and we work a little bit more on that, but we're going to be launching 1.28 with the newest version of it. So beta users and daily users will have seen that transition.
Yeah. It's a drastic difference, not in a bad way.
It now feels definitely more up to date. It feels like any other application I could use, except that it's way more powerful because it's Thunderbird, right? Like the whole point that we want for Thunderbird, like my whole desire for it is it's something easy to use, it's something friendly and inviting. However, it can be as complicated or as easy as you want it to be.
Intuitive at first glance, but then like powerful when you need it to be.
Yeah, if you want it to be. Some people don't really need it that much for email, but some people, like my uncle, absolutely loves all the features we offer. And we also try our
Your
best.
uncle, the one who didn't want, he's the one who didn't want any change, right?
He was so happy. I actually got him stickers when I first got here. He was too excited about Thunderbird and immediately panicked after. He actually sat me down after to talk about it. He was like, this is what I like. And do these other things that Thunderbird does, amazing. Don't touch it. And I was like, all of that is back end. I won't touch back end. If
I get it though, because muscle memory is a really powerful thing. Since I was a teenager, back then with video games, I remember I was into like, I don't know if it was flight simulators or some kind of flying game where the stick was inverted.
Yeah.
Ever since I'm 48 years old now, every single game, every single system, I go and invert the Y stick because I cannot play with normal. I can't. I physically can't do it, and I will never be able to change. So,
but those are great interaction points. Like,
can you imagine though if someone took that option away? Like if a major developer was like, "We're not going to give you that option anymore," I would just stop playing.
It's not like it's just a preference. It's how someone learned how to do something. When my brother was only like 3 years old, at this point he had already interacted with a tablet, like an old iPad. So when he wanted to switch something on TV, we didn't have smart TVs then, but he would try to touch the screen and move the things around because he's that generation. Yeah. So the things that what we have learned that is intuitive, it doesn't have to be erased, but we have to also make paths for what new people know and experience. So that's the part that I love that Thunderbird allows is customization. Everyone gets to learn just about the same things. And yes, it will be a little bit difficult for users to get used to some stuff, but in the end, we don't want anyone to be uncomfortable.
This conversation though has reminded me that we have people in their 80s and 90s using Thunderbird, and we have teenagers using Thunderbird, and they come from vastly different technology backgrounds, right? I mean, that sounds daunting as a UX designer trying to satisfy such a huge range of experiences.
Which is why the first experience, it needs to be simple, user-friendly, and welcoming. Because my grandma, it's the kind of user that thinks she sometimes needs 2 computers, one for each email. She's 80. She's 80 and she's like, oh, I have my computer for this email and my tablet for this other email. And I was like, Grandma, because she understands how to switch accounts, I think, but she doesn't know that she can do it on email.
I wanted to go back to the cards view redesign topic and ask you how the community helped influence or shape what the final outcome looked like.
The community had a lot of opinions, which were great because we can only design and extrapolate things from our own experiences or from people we know. We do our best to put ourselves in the shoes of others and see what they will do, how they will interact. So some comments were very much like, oh, I wish for this or that because it just serves me better, or I just like how it looks, which as a UI or user interface, like as long as it looks cohesive, I'm happy. However, there were users that were able to bring explanations like, it's not that I don't like what you guys are doing, but this is how I use it, and these are my concerns. And they were able to bring a couple of points that were like, oh, actually, that's a really good point. Thank you for bringing that forward. We're able to take that into account so users don't get stressed once it's released, because yes, there are chances that we will push something out and our users are going to not be happy. We're not perfect. But that's what we encourage the users to be able to take this communication with us throughout the development process, throughout the design process, before it's even finished, because that way we can assure that when it gets to ESR, it can be something that everyone feels happy or comfortable with. You're able to do whatever you want to do, and we want to provide, again, simplicity by default, but powerful if desired, right?
Is there something specific that attracted you to Thunderbird as an employer?
Here's the thing. My uncle refuses to have an Alexa Google Home in his house. There's two kinds of technology users, the ones that will smartify their house and the ones that will shoot any technology they see if it gets close. Like my printer moved, shoot it.
So I have to interject. Something I will never use again and never buy again is an HP printer. Okay. They have a service called Instant Ink, where it's like a subscription service for ink. Like you estimate, okay, I'm going to need 500 pages printed per month, and they'll send you the right amount of ink. But how do they know how much you're printing? Because they're talking to your printer all the time. So one day I had just turned my printer off. I'm like, I don't need this on. I'm not going to be printing anything for a while. Just going to turn it off.
Yeah.
I got an email from HP saying, please turn your printer back on. We can't communicate with it. And I was like, what?
Oh,
that's creepy. Yeah. Anyway.
So, and here's the thing, like the more I spend time here, the more I'm like, oh, my uncle was right. Because my dad is the one who smartifies the house. I never really had a lot of interactions with, that the importance of privacy and why it's better to be careful and stuff like that. Like, even if you're not putting your information out there, things can be getting your information. So I didn't quite figure that out until I started working here. But I do think that my first interviews with both Lisa and Alex, they were very eye-opening as to the kind of people they were. And they're just amazing people. They're just so not only welcoming, but they do see you as a human and not just as another corporation pawn.
A laborer. Yeah.
Yeah. I am very grateful for that. My country doesn't have a good work-life balance. It's like my stepmom's country doesn't need, Brazil, Peru, those countries. If I were to have stayed there, it would have been stressful, and I would just be one more pawn on these kind of huge potential job plays. Here, I do feel that I get to be a human. I get to be myself. I get to do things I like. There are tools for me for future life experiences as well, right? So I'm just happy that I got to meet everyone here. And once I actually got in the team, everyone is just so welcoming. The community itself, it's just also very understanding and welcoming. Yes, everyone has their own comments or oh, I like this, oh, I don't like that. But other than that, they do recognize, we do what we do and we do it for them. This is a community project. And we are basically crazy thankful for all the community members that helped support it for so many years. And now we just want to ensure that that project keeps on going and grows to be what they knew it was going to be.
What a wholesome answer that was. Thanks for doing everything you're doing.
No, of course.
When
When you got a team like I've got, it's great.